All right. Well, welcome everybody. It's another Thursday, but not just any ordinary Thursday. It is the Thursday that we do lunch with a doc and maybe lunch with two docs. And so just really happy that people are here live. Thank you for being here. I know your time will be well spent and we'd love to have you participate, add value, ask questions, and be part of this healthy conversation. And our topic today is all on heart health. And we all love our heart. And hopefully today you'll walk away with something that you can just do a little bit better in taking care of your heart, or knowing something better that you could go to your physician and be able to ask those questions that would support you moving forward in the healthiest way possible. I am Cindy Trow, and I am a health coach. I am a transformational specialist. So what I like to do is help people create a healthy lifestyle. And for many, it starts with getting to a healthy weight, but we create victories both on and off the scale because it's really about living your best life. And I am joyfully here with Dr. Brian Sanders and Dr. Romeo. Dr. Brian Sanders is a board certified family physician right here. Is that, oh, I didn't know. Okay. Right here in About You Family Medicine in Smyrna, Georgia. And his practice is a direct primary care practice. And what that means is that patients actually get to be patients and talk with their physician, and together they find the best steps forward in managing their health. They have time to serve you, where many physicians are just bringing you in and bringing you out. So you really get the best care possible in About You Family Medicine. And Dr. Sanders has done so well. He wants to spread the health over the Roswell area, and working in tandem with him is Dr. Romeo. And Dr. Romeo has an urgent care business called
Here to help.
And he is here to help. And he is there every day from, correct me if I'm wrong, 12 to 9. And it's also a great practice of making sure that people get the care that they need anytime that they need it. So today we're going to talk about, like I said, heart health. And Dr. Romeo is going to start us off. And again, please, if you have any questions, feel free to, raise your hand after Dr. Romeo speaks. If you have a comment, please do that as well. I know we have Jeannie here who is in the healthcare world as well. So I think we all have something we could share that's positive, or a question that we have to share. So Dr. Romeo, would you like to get started?
Absolutely. Thank you, Cindy. What a wonderful introduction per usual. So I'll jump right into it. This is the one time that that old adage is true. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of care. I mean, it's particularly apt in this situation because when it comes to our heart and our cardiovascular health, there's a lot we can do on the individual level. They call it the silent killer because so many people are experiencing it, and that's high blood pressure. Now, this is actually one of the biggest proponents of heart issues, and it's an objective reading one could monitor at home that is arguably just as affected by diet and lifestyle as affected by genetic predisposition. And what do I mean by genetic predisposition? There's certain populations, African-American males, certain age groups, certain ancestry that's going to lead you to increased propensity for cardiovascular issues. But at the end of the day, Cindy, I think you'll agree, a lot of it's diet and lifestyle. Now, nearly half of all Americans have high blood pressure now. And it kind of fascinates me because despite our advanced knowledge of how we get this elevated number and the advancements in medicine to alleviate it, we're still seeing significantly unhealthier populations. And honestly, medicines are great. Modern medicine has really taken leaps and bounds forwards in the last 40, 50 years, but often taking a medication to lower a number seems to be all a person feels is necessary instead of combating the root cause of the issue. So many, myself included, have adapted such a sedentary lifestyle because entertainment is so readily available without leaving the couch that in 40 years, we went from 0 screen time to an average of well over 8 hours a day that's more time looking at a screen than the back of one's own eyelids at night. I mean, I'm just as guilty as playing on my phone till I fall asleep as anybody, but I know how it affects my overall health, unfortunately. Not to mention, it throws off something called the circadian rhythm, which is basically a way that your body regulates certain things like cortisol in your body, which is directly related to stress, which is directly related to cardiovascular health. And that circadian rhythm is completely light dependent. So if we're looking at artificial sources of light beyond daylight, it can throw that off and actually lead to detriment to the heart health. So let's talk about things we can monitor. Cholesterol levels, lipids, triglycerides. We all know these words. We've heard them. A1C, again, checking all these regularly. Now, Dr. Sanders has kind of shown me the light on how all these can be checked regularly and affordably, to the point where if you do the math, if you eliminate one fast food meal a week, I could check all these things every 3 months and you wouldn't see a difference in your budget. I mean, cholesterol, lipids, triglycerides, all relatively inexpensive labs that people like Dr. Sanders and myself can do regularly for next to nothing. Now, we have these health and heart markers, and adjusting diet based on trends that we can now, if we're getting routine blood work, we can actually see what's effective and what's not. Okay, let's eliminate salt. Let's exercise more. We can actually trend these markers now because we have the advancement of science that we can actually take our health into our own hands. I mean, Cindy, I think you'll agree, taking into consideration food choices and the glycemic index, all things that we know a lot about, and we know what works. Now we can trend what works. It all makes sense. Now, lifestyle changes. And I know, Cindy, this is going to be more what you talk about, but just in general, lower salt intake, regular exercise, again, that sedentary lifestyles become the norm. You know, we've given up experiences for convenience. I mean, that's just human nature, unfortunately, but, you know, we have to take a proactive approach. Otherwise, we'll just continue to react to all the modern conveniences given to us. Limiting alcohol, not everyone's favorite, but it's a lot easier to do than, you know, certain other things that could take longer to really kind of see a change. But zero smoking. Now, I cannot emphasize this enough. Like, some of the highest propensity to cardiac issues is related to smoking, and even avoiding secondhand smoke, especially over a long periods of time. Let's say you have a best friend or something like that, can really significantly reduce your risk of certain cardiovascular issues. Regular sleep and good hygiene we talked about, and then overall reducing stress. And it's funny, if you add in all those other factors, it's a summation effect of reducing stress, especially with routine sleep and helping with that circadian rhythm. So the goal of all this, overall health with reduced risks of stroke. Again, stroke is related to the blood vessels doing what they need to do. Heart attack, same. It's the blood vessels that feed the heart. Heart failure, if you have what's called pulmonary hypertension, where the vessels in the lungs are too small that it takes more force for the heart to push blood. Ultimately, that heart can be overcome, and then you have issues with perfusion. Heart failure, heart kidney disease, I mean, same kind of propensity to issues with cardiovascular, because those vessels get smaller, you're not able to perfuse blood. The kidneys actually, if they're not, the little working units of the kidney aren't working, they actually start decreasing function, and ultimately you're not able to filter the blood. And then we have things like vision loss and even sexual dysfunction, again, all related to all the blood vessels getting smaller over time, which increases resistance by R to the 4. Any decrease in radius of a blood vessel actually has an exponential increase in resistance, which, so a little bit of reduction in radius can go a long way, unfortunately. Now, again, medication, working in one's position are great, but education, prevention, and accountability on the individual level are crucial. This is where I'm so happy to be working along someone like you, Cindy. Emphasis on, you know, you have an emphasis on placing accountability, you have an emphasis on lifestyle changes, and you have an emphasis on monitoring what one is eating and when that person's eating. Now, it takes more than a physician caring about someone's health. It takes the patient caring about the patient's health. And I know that you keep people accountable because they're working towards the best goal. And that's not just a longer life, but a better life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. All right. So any questions for Dr. Romeo on what he just shared with us, or anything that you want to add to it, Dr. Sanders, Jeannie?
No, I mean, that was great. And to add, not only do over half of our population have high blood pressure, nearly half of the population has heart disease. So it goes even beyond just blood pressure and some of these objective findings, people are actually more and more at risk of heart attack and stroke, the more they kind of ignore some of these lifestyle choices, dietary choices, and it results in earlier death and more health issues at younger ages.
Hmm. So heart disease being the silent killer. And so sometimes we just don't even know what we have going on. I'm hearing you say, lab work. Is that something that when a patient comes to your office that you're checking out to make sure that their heart is in good condition so the silence doesn't kill them before it gets there?
So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Dr. Romeo touched on a lot of the different labs that can be indicators. Just getting your blood pressure taken is actually a recommended annual screening test that everyone should have done. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to your doctor to have that done, but that's always something that's done every time you visit a doctor's office. And I know it's not sexy, but at the same time, it's one of the leading causes of developing cardiovascular disease, just having high blood pressure. But as Dr. Romeo said, it's easier and easier and more affordable to get a lot of these tests to help risk stratify people's risk for cardiovascular disease. And our ability to really search for those that are at highest risk is getting better and better as days, weeks, months, years go on. There's a great test that I love to order called a coronary calcium score that is a low dose CT scan of the heart and actually looks for whether someone has heart disease or not. So that's something that wasn't available until more recently and can again help us further risk stratify who's at risk for heart attack, stroke, and other cardiovascular health problems.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, comments before I move on?
Thank you, Dr. Romeo, for your concise, picture of how we've evolved into this negativity that's causing us such, so many health issues. How do you really encourage your patients to make a change? Because like you said, it really takes that individual caring enough about themselves, and people don't really like it when you shake your finger at them, so how do you really encourage someone? I know Cindy's a great coach and everything, and getting people to recognize what they really want. What do you try with your patients?
this is actually why I love urgent care, and Dr. Sanders will attest to this. I've been able to be the initial point of contact for so many people, and I've been able to hand him off patients that are, it's kind of a weeding out process. There's certain levels that someone's willing to accept that they're in jeopardy from an urgent care physician. And then, I can kind of ascertain that. What I do is I kind of do the Dale Carnegie method. I talk about what they want. Okay, you want to live a long, healthy life. I emphasize quality as well as quantity of life. I want that too. Here's the information I'm having that makes me concerned that we're not going to meet that goal. So now it's a contract. It's us doing a goal about what they want. And the best part about having such a good relationship with Dr. Sanders is, even though I'm urgent care, I like to walk them to the door and beyond. I'm actually able to do a warm handoff that allows them to be like, hey, I know someone who's affordable, who can help you track this. You don't even have to worry about insurance. It's all affordable. It's all transparent. And it's all, a direct relationship with your physician is going to be the absolute quintessential element to you being able to come in and do. Dr. Sanders offers health checks where they just come in and do vitals and they can track it and they can be held accountable. There's no fee. You just walk in, you take your vitals, his nurse is there, and then he keeps that all in documents. They can look at the trends together. So again, he emphasizes that contract, like, you want to come in, I'm going to help you. We're working towards one goal. And if you explain it that way, even in an urgent care setting, they won't walk out with the finger shaking. If you don't change, if you don't do this, it's like, oh man, I have information. I have someone who cares. He's put me in the hands of someone else that I can look at longevity. And at the end of the day, now we're all working towards a common goal. And it doesn't have to require that ego bash. I don't have to embarrass them. I don't have to accuse them of not doing something right. I mean, if anything, I humble myself and say, hey, The reason I'm a doctor is I'm not good at this stuff, so I teach others how to do it, right?
I love that answer.
Yes, thank you.
I love that approach. That is super cool. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Learn some things in urgent care, especially when you do it wrong enough. Luckily, I had lots of practice patients because through the pandemic, I had a lot of conversations, and fortunately, I'm able to get a lot of information around quickly, make a few jokes, keep it lighthearted. But at the end of the day, when I have to be serious, I do it in a way that is congruent with, pushing them towards wanting to do something different to get a different result. What do they say? Insanity is doing the same thing, expecting something different, but you can't sit there and say that's insane. You have to say, let's try it differently.
Thank you. Thank you. So really great information. So what do we do with that? We go to our doctors and make sure that our heart is healthy. So what I would like to just kind of, move forward and talk about is know those risk factors, sleep and obesity are two very big factors in exponentially increases your chance for heart disease. So look at those, and then look at the hypertension, look at sleep, look at sedentary lifestyle, the stress and the smoking. Like, which one is a risk factor for you? And what are some steps that you are willing to take to move that forward? And, with a habits approach and a lifestyle approach, you want to, move things one step at a time. So we know that, exercising, diet, drinking your water, sleeping, all those things are going to help. Which area, if you touch that one area, which one is going to have the biggest impact? So I just like to share a couple of things. And what I'd like you to think about as I'm going through it is, what is that one thing I could walk away from this lunch with a doc and say, I'm going to do this better, and this will help me take care of my heart. So we talked about moving, and physical exercise is the numero uno way to keep your heart healthy. And what does that mean? What is regular physical activity? So many reliable sources say 150 minutes a week. Now, does that mean that you're going into the gym? Maybe, and maybe not. So people ask me, what is some good exercise that I can do to stay healthy? And my stock answer is the one that you're going to do. So, that could be going for a walk every day, like 20 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes moving in the morning makes a huge impact on your health. So morning movement, and the reason I like morning movement is that it gets our energy and our blood rolling, and it also helps with our, mental state, our emotional state, and it gets us started in the right place. So there are things that you could do besides go to the gym, like, having a standing desk, taking breaks and walking to the water cooler or walking to the break room if you're working in places like that. We hear of parking further away, or putting on music. Selena, I did not know that you were a dance teacher, but putting on music and cleaning your house or just moving about the house. I mean, what's more fun than that, right? So I want you to think about, what are those things that I could do during the day that will increase my movement just in the natural tapestry of my day. Okay. And I'd love to hear your ideas around that as well. So we talked about low glycemic, keeping the sugar, the added sugars out of our diet. And this is not an exercise, but I think it's a powerful visual. And I'm going to go over this like super, super quick. So this shows the blood sugars in blue is spiking up and down, and that is not healthy. And the insulin is really trying to help balance the blood sugars out. And this is a really hard space to be in. This is not healthy at all. And this is what causes obesity. This is what causes inflammation in your body. And we know that all those things impact our heart health. Okay. What we want our blood sugars to look like is something like this. And in my world, we do this by eating frequent small meals that are low glycemic. It's less taxing on the body. It shuts down that fat storage hormone, helps you create energy, gets rid of that inflammation and the fat around the heart. So there's so many benefits in balancing your blood sugars. And this is just one way to do it and one way to think about it. Okay. So with that being said, some of your small meals, you know, you always hear, you know, eat your vegetables, eat your fruit. Well, eat your vegetables and eat your fruit, and avoid, you know, those packaged cookies. You know, anything that's packaged like that has a lot of trans fats in it that are not healthy for us. And Dr. Romeo talked about, you know, decreasing your salt intake. Well, what do you do instead? Well, we are so lucky that we live in a time when they have all these great seasonings and that we could add to our foods that don't add calories, they don't add salt, and they add great flavor and keep not only our heart healthy, but our body healthy in so many different ways. So, you know, fruits and vegetables, as many colors as you could add to your plate. Make sure that you add them, the reds, the yellows, besides just eating the green type of foods. And have unsaturated fats, fish, avocados, nuts, olive oil, flaxseed oil, those kinds of things. So look at the oils that you're putting in your body. Water. And, you know, this was kind of new to me. You know, I'm a proponent of drink your water, drink your water. There's like a million benefits of drinking water, but I really didn't understand this part that when we get dehydrated, our blood gets thicker. And when our blood gets thicker, guess what? Our heart has to work harder. And so what some studies have shown that if you drink at least 5 glasses of water a day, that you are going to decrease your chances of having a heart attack by 41% compared to people who only drink 2 glasses of water a day. Dr. Romeo or Dr. Sanders, do you have anything to add to that particular point?
I mean, I love water every day. I mean, I keep a full Yeti around me at all times. I think there is something, it's called excessive water. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think the average person is going to read. I think emphasizing, you know, drinking water is a great way to do it because I mean, it is essential to life. So I've always been a proponent of it. Now, is there more benefit to being excessive with it? Probably not. But I mean, I don't think anyone's going to hurt themselves at 8 glasses a day. Hopefully not, because that's about where I am. And I really enjoy it, especially if I'm drinking water throughout the day. I'm less apt to drink sodas or anything like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that part's huge is a lot of people, when they think they're hungry, they're actually just thirsty. So making sure that you're hydrated is a great way to reduce calorie intake,
Hmm.
which also is a fantastic way to decrease risk for heart disease and high blood pressure and all the health risks we're discussing.
Mhm. Awesome point. Yeah, really about being hungry versus being thirsty. So test that out by having that glass of water is something that I share a lot with my clients too. So sleep, numero uno in really helping us revitalize our body, restore our bodies back to where they need to be to perform well, both mentally and physically on any given day. And we know when our sleep is impaired, our decisions are impaired, and the choices, life choices we make, you know, we might not go to the gym, we might not eat well. There's just a compound effect when we don't sleep properly. So sleeping fewer than 6 hours a day has a likelihood of increasing the chances for obesity. And when we increase the chances for obesity, we increase the chance for heart disease. So one of the things that we could do to keep all our rhythms in place is we have 2 very impactful times of the day where we can help our sleep patterns, and that's the hour before we go to bed And like I've heard before, like we're guilty of being on that phone. We're also, have the lights on. We're doing other things in bed other than what its purpose is for. And there's only two purposes for being in your bed. And we know what both of those are. So other than that, really setting the stage for quieting your day down, doing some reading, some meditating, some journaling, things that are going to not have you nicely go to bed. And one of the things I love, Insight Timer is a great app. If you need an app to help you relax, that's a good place to start. And there's apps called Calm as well that will serve you in that way. The next thing is waking up in the morning and not jumping and getting busy, jumping and getting on that phone, but really taking some quiet time out to do either, whether it's prayer for you, meditation, get some of that movement in, get the water in. I love years ago when I created that habit about drinking water. I love coffee, and I'll do lots of things for my cup of coffee. And so I drink like 16 to 20 ounces of water before I'll allow my lips to touch a cup of coffee. And that's a great way to habit stack if you need a little help with that. But really starting your morning off with some quiet time, some movement, some water, and something to eat to get your body ready to be productive, energized throughout the day. And even stepping outside early in the morning has a big effect just for a few minutes, getting that vitamin D, getting that air on you and helping you recognize, oh, it is time to wake up. And then your body learns that it's time to go to bed when it gets dark as well. So those are some tips around keeping a healthy lifestyle. And I would like to know if any of you have something you'd like to contribute or thoughts that you have that help you with any of these areas that we discussed today.
I wanted to say that I was able to successfully prioritize sleep. That's been a beautiful thing, but water remains, my challenge, because I'm a workaholic. So once I start working, I forget about the rest of the world, including that giant bottle of water that's sitting right beside me on my desk. I don't know if it's a deterrent to me drinking, if I'm intentionally avoid, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm almost rebelling against the giant thing of water yelling at me all day long. So that doesn't work for me. Straws doesn't work for me. I mean, I've tried all sorts of things. So I'm curious to hear what tactics other people have been successful with when it comes to just getting enough water throughout the day.
I personally like to think, what habit do you already have that you do every day at different times of the day? Like you eat lunch, do you eat lunch every day? Do you get
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have water with my meals, but I need more than that in order to get that, at least a gallon in me. I mean, it's just getting the volume.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then my other question was, how do you feel about alkaline waters when it comes to superior hydration?
Okay, so I'll talk to the first part of that. And, for me, it's having, the water sitting right, if it's sitting right next to you, do you drink it? No? Okay, so here's what I would say. How many glasses of water do you drink a day right now?
I'm just drinking with the main meals. Like I have a glass of water as soon as I wake up, even before I go downstairs. And then I have tea with breakfast, water with lunch, water with dinner. But it's, it's not enough.
Okay, so what is one time during the day that you have some habit, something that you do, whether it's standing by a microwave, what's one habit that you have outside your breakfast, lunch, and dinner hours that every day I do X?
Every day I sit in front of a computer. I mean,
Well,
well, unless we're talking about getting up and going to the bathroom. I
Okay.
did think, I'm like, maybe when I go to the bathroom, every time I go to the bathroom, that's my cue to drink some water.
perfect. You just absolutely found that. So what I would like you to do this week is at least once a day when you go to the bathroom, drink a bottle, a cup of water.
Something, okay.
Okay. And then once you have that down pat, then you're going to add the second glass of water the next time you go to the bathroom. So just find that one time that you're going to add that one glass. So this week, all you're concentrating on is adding one glass of
One more
water.
glass.
So the
Okay.
next time you go to the bathroom, one glass of water.
That
Okay.
might do it.
Anybody else have some tips?
I like a glass of water before meals too. That way it kind of meters it out. Plus it kind of, much like Dr. Sanders was saying, it'll reduce the calorie intake if you have something already stretching stretching your stomach a bit.
Mhm. Anything else that anybody does that works for them?
One of my tips is, hi, late guys, I am Tanya. I keep a bottle of water because I like mine room temperature. So I just keep a bottle in every room in the house so that when I get thirsty, if it's empty, I just go to the sink and I fill it. And rarely do I drink it cold, and I definitely have it at every meal. So yeah.
Tanya, please tell me you have a lid on all those bottles, because my roommate
do
in
have
college
a
was
lid.
the same way, and it was like a minefield. Everywhere I went, I would knock over a bottle of water.
Yep, I keep lids on them,
Okay,
or there'll
thank
be a
you.
container, but yep, I do.
So one other thing that thank you, Tanya, that was a really good input. So one thing I do is like, I'm upstairs in my house, right? And so I get busy and I'm like going, oh, I need to go downstairs and go get some more water. Well, sometimes that doesn't happen. But if I have this big old jug of water and it's full, it could last me several days and then I have no excuse. And if you put this in front of you, I promise you, you'll drink some water. But anyway, just, find ways to decrease your excuses. So, and build it slow, one step at a time. So can't wait to hear, Nichelle, how you increase that one glass of water a day. And then next week or in the next week or two, you could increase it to 2. Anything else that you would like to add or questions that you did have a second question around the alkaline. Dr. Sanders or Dr. Romeo, do you want to have any information around that?
I mean, I'm not quite sure. I know that they say that there's a certain increased benefit of having alkaline water. I'm not really sure. Dr. Sanders, have you come across any definitive data?
No, not that I'm aware of. In my opinion, I think it's just a marketing ploy.
It
So
does taste better.
just focus on getting your water, and I don't really care how
What pH, right?
or how.
Yeah. I mean, and from a health coach perspective, I don't have science to prove one way or another. I'm kind of the proponent. I'm just going to drink water and be happy with that. But I do know that some people will say that they actually can feel the difference. So if you want to give it like, a 30-day try and see if it makes you feel different, great. I just don't know how big a difference that's going to make. Selena, I knew you had something to add to that. I'm sorry. Keep on going.
So I'm not a health professional or anything like that, but I ran and operated dance studios for 13 years. And so that was a previous career that I had done. And so on the alkaline water thing, from what I understand, whenever you go to Trader Joe's, you go anywhere to purchase your bottled alkaline water, yes, it is the alkalinity, and it is at that 7.2 that, or higher that it was whenever it was bottled. And over time, those bottles are sitting in warehouses. And then by the time that they get to the store, they are the exact same alkalinity as tap water. So, I mean, I think that it's, yes, whenever you purchase alkaline water, it was alkaline whenever you perch or whenever it was bottled, and it might be a cleaner water than if you were to say, if you were to purchase, say, spring water or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know what my point is, but I just know that, alkalinity is lower whenever you purchase a bottle of alkaline water in the store. So I guess check your expiration dates and or the bottle date. And the closer you are to that date is going to be the higher alkalinity.
Great contribution. Thank you, Selena. That was awesome. Awesome. Does everybody, have the one thing that they are going to walk away with and maybe do a little bit better and build a habit around it? I know Nichelle's going to work on her water. Anyone else have something that they want to just take one step further?
I think I'm going to take more time to check my numbers.
I
Mhm.
think that's great.
Yeah. and you
More
can-
exercise, always more exercise.
Mhm. I think the big one for me is I'm great at exercising, but it's that movement that we do during the day that's outside of that structured exercise time is so important. So getting up, not only to go to the bathroom, but getting up to just really have a movement break is something that strongly working on when I'm doing desk work.
I'm gonna challenge myself to put my phone down an hour before bed this entire week and actually read with ambient light. So, I kind of break that cycle of needing to look at a screen before sleep. So I've done it before and it was great. And I don't know how I got back to it, but I think I finished the book I was on. It was so good. I didn't want to pick up another book, but that's gonna be my goal.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Anyone else want to share anything about what they're going to do, Selena?
I am going to, whenever I get up, this is something that I've been thinking of doing, and I've done it on occasion, but starting, well, I guess tomorrow morning, I'm going to get some light exercise done in the bathroom. Like you can do like light push-ups and you can do like some squats and things like that in the morning before I get in the shower and get ready. So that's what I'm going to be doing is upping my exercise because I feel it.
Okay, so I love that. And, I have something to share with you. So when you're brushing your teeth and you could do wall squats. So you just get up against the wall and just sit in that squat position. And you'll feel your muscles working. So
You can do calf raises too.
You can do calf raises. You could do lots of things while you're brushing your teeth. So yeah, can't wait to hear about that 10:30 tomorrow. Anyone else? No? All right. Patty, one day we'll talk about it. So Patty is an organizer. And I think when we talk about our sleep patterns and making sure that our room is organized and clean so that it gives us that sense of calm to go to bed. So have you
Well,
ever?
I'd like to say something. Everything around you has energy. So when you're sleeping, if you have junk around you, you're getting that energy in you. And people don't realize it, but it's true. My background is I'm a food scientist and I work for Monsanto, Nestle, and Carnation in product development. And I find that the problem that's happening now is convenience. And as a scientist, we made food that tastes really, really good because we wanted to make money. And that's part of the problem is the addiction to the food of the taste. And people don't realize that that's what these food companies are trying to do is get you addicted to a certain taste. It's a learned response. It's a memory of the taste. So a lot of times you have to think logically before you impulsively eat. A lot of people are addicted, let's say, to chips or something like that because it's the taste. There's no caloric value in chips. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, that there's not value in what you're eating. It's not sustaining you. these different foods, and people are, I think, are a little blinded to that. And that's why the morbid obesity rate has gone up. It went up the day it started was 1980s when fructose was added to soft drinks and they had supersized me drinks. That's the day morbid obesity started.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I knew, Patty, that it was going to be a blessing having you here today. Thank you for sharing that. Anyway, well, thank you, everybody. I want to respect everybody's time. I know we went over a little bit. I do want to offer out to you, anybody who wants, I have these really cool glycemic index charts that show us what are some best choices in our different food groups. And if you would like that, reach out to me. I have Dr. Romeo already on the list. He's on the top of the list. So if you would like that, if you would just pop that in the chat, I will get that to you. And it just helps us make good choices and know what to buy before we even walk into that grocery store. Okay.
Well, thank you, Cindy. I had a great time.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Have a healthy day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Cindy. Bye-bye.
Thank you.